What you hear is what you feel.
Welcome! That music signifies the return of the boys. The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. I've been on holiday. Paz, hopefully you've fully recovered from your sickness issues
I'm
now.
I'm always ill, so it's all right.
Yeah, you're always ill to one degree. Or no, there's always a percentage factor of how ill you are, is there?
That's it.
Hopefully you're in the positive, not HIV positive.
No,
obviously,
no, I'm still alive.
You're
Yes.
still alive.
I'm surviving.
As Elton John would say, I'm still standing. You a fan of Elton John?
Well,
His lifestyle.
I'm sure he's not always standing.
And on that slightly homophobic front, so then we'll start the lyrical. What episode is it? To take
I don't know. You've skived so long.
a week. Yeah, no, I have no idea what episode
I
it is
think it's
anymore.
like 10 or something.
Double digits. Are we in double digits? Are we?
Double digits.
If you'd like to feel, I'll quickly check on YouTube to see
Feel
what
what?
Phil in
Elton
a
John.
non-Elton John manner. Phil Fill.
Oh, okay.
I can confirm it is actually episode 10. Number
Yeah, there you
9 was
go.
last time. So, well, I would say well filled, but you didn't do
I didn't do nothing.
well, and he didn't feel, did you? So there
No.
wasn't well filled at all. So yeah, episode 10 of Lyrical Iracle, the podcast sensation which is sweeping the nation, whereby me and Paz listen to songs and try and interpret their lyrics and try and work out what the meaning of the songs are by looking at the lyrics and then sharing our thoughts and our interpretations. Obviously, the artist has their own interpretation of the songs, but we give what we think they're about. Now, I did have a bit of listener feedback in the week. My friend said to me, you started off reviewing the songs and lyrics and listening to them all and then giving your feedback on what they're about, but now you just seem to slag off
Yeah, that's
and
it.
moan
Well,
about stuff.
most of them are crap, aren't they?
That's exactly what I said to her, Paz.
Not our
So
fault, is it?
we'll give a little shout out to Mandy, as she likes to be known.
Hello, Mandy.
Who listens to the
How you
podcast
doing?
religiously every week. And I did say to her that that's because we keep it's a random song generator. And if we get songs we don't like, we're just giving our honest
It's
interpretation.
honest opinion. Would you rather we love every song?
She did say that specifically the Guns N' Roses one, Welcome to the Jungle, but I said to her we actually did go into the lyrics about that one and looked about the jungle. I should say also,
Yeah.
she actually told me why the New York is called the jungle, because it's the concrete jungle, apparently, because it's all made of the jungle. So she said we didn't mention that on the podcast, and we touched upon it.
We must have gone through something.
But thank you, Mandy, for that.
Thank you.
Valuable feedback.
You know how
and
bad John is. He puts me off.
and for telling us all about where we should be getting back to with our reviews. So thank you for that feedback, and we'll completely. I'm just filing it away. Can you hear that in the bin? Shh, filing that in the bin. But we'll be sure to go back to trying to do lyrical interpretations. That's enough waffle from me. So Paz, would you like to fire up the random song generator, see what song we get first for our comeback show? Thank you very much. And we have got a band who I don't think I've ever heard any of their songs before, but a lot of the bands that I like, Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, Soundgarden and that, and Foo Fighters drummer Taylor Hawkins, they all say that they love this band. It was Cheap Trick, and they're from Chicago, and the name of the track is called Surrender. It was released in May 1978. There's a little bit of a blurb here. Cheap Trick provided the ultimate 70s teen anthem in
Is it
Surrender.
like a ballad type thing?
I'm not going to read the rest because it tells you a little bit about what it's about. But it does say the guitarist songwriter Nielsen said about the song, I tried to go back and put myself in the head of a 14-year-old. I'm glad he said the head and not the body of a 14-year-old. Obviously, he would have been in room 103.
It's still bad. It's still bad. It's Elton John.
He would have been straight in room 103, wouldn't he, if he'd have phrased that any differently. So this is Cheap Trick and the song Surrender. As ever, a reminder, as we have been away for a couple of weeks, that the songs that we feature on the podcast are all available on a playlist on our YouTube channel. So if you'd like to go to episode 10 playlist, track 1 will be Cheap Trick Surrender. So we will now listen to that song and speak to you on the other side.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
That was Cheap Trick with Surrender, and I fucking loved that song. I can see why a lot of the grunge bands that I grew up listening to liked them. The wicked. The palm muting guitars, you can see where Green Day kind of drew the influence from for that, the palm muting and then the emphasising on the certain chords. Opens up for the chorus with the cymbals and the open chords. Gritty guitars, really sort of, you can see why all the grunge bands loved those as well. It's quite heavy, grungy guitars coming from the heavier end of the punk thing. It was out in 1978, of course, remember this song. And there's a nice synth line in the background which comes in for the chorus. And there's a call and response bit at the end where they sort of alternate the two melody lines for the chorus. I really enjoyed that song, Paz. What did you think of it, mate?
Sorry, Mandy. Well, he likes it. Wasn't for me, but I could see the influence of the style in other bands, and I'm not 100% sure, but it could possibly have been ahead of time of the way how it was done and stuff.
Absolutely.
I don't know for a fact because I wasn't around then, but yeah.
Yeah, it sounds much later than 1978. It was sort of pop sensibilities, but it had the punk sort of guitars and the raspy vocals and the really good drumming. I can see why Taylor Hawkins and all the drummers in the grunge bands love this guy's drumming as well. He's a really good drummer as well. Guitar was really good. The vocals were really good.
It just wasn't for me. That was it.
No. Well, let's look at the lyrics then, first of all. So we obviously established in the little bit of blurb at the beginning that this song was about him putting himself back into the head of himself when he was a 14-year-old boy. So the first verse, Paz?
Mother told me, yes, she told me, I'd meet girls like you, Mandy. She also told me, stay away. You'll never know what you'll catch. No offence. No
offence, Mandy. Just the other day I heard of soldiers falling off some Indonesian junk that's going round. It's so I guess it's the
drugs.
The guy looking back to when he was a teenager after the Vietnam War, and his mum telling him to be careful with the women he's sleeping with because all the soldiers are coming back with drug habits and what stuff they'd picked up in Vietnam and stuff.
That's kind of what I picked up because he's talking about Indonesian junk and stuff like that, and then he's saying how his mum was from the Philippines, if I'm getting that right, isn't it?
That's in the next bit, yeah. So then we get the first chorus, which is Mummy's all right, Daddy's all right, they just seem a little weird. Beautiful melody for the verse, for the chorus, sorry. That's a really good chorus. Surrender, surrender, but don't give yourself away. I guess it's about his parents trying to encourage him to live not adventurous maybe, not to be too worried about living in the world, but also giving him a little warning at the same time that be careful, there's some dodgy stuff out there. So I guess that's what the bit about them acting weird towards him, but he knows they've got his best intentions at heart.
Do you know if they're English, American, or
American? Yeah, from Chicago.
So American, and they went, as you say, they went over to the Vietnam, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
So it could be also because his mum's. Well, I'm gathering his mum's Filipino. That she maybe says the American culture is a bit different.
It seems to suggest that she was served in the forces. Look, so the next verse is, Father says your mother's right. So basically, listen to your mum. She's just looking out for your best interests. Wear protection if you're going to be sleeping around as you're a young 14-year-old boy going out and making your way in the world. Before we married, Mummy served in the WACs in the Philippines. I guess that's a women's corps, isn't it? A corps? They call it corps? Corps, the women's corps of the army in the Philippines. So she served in the Philippines army. Now, I heard that the WACs recruited old maids for the war, but Mummy isn't one of those. I've known her all these years.
So that's where I'm thinking he might have actually done a mail order bride and he's just covering up.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's his mother's Filipino. You never know. And then we've got another chorus. Mummy's all right, Daddy's all right. They just seem a little weird. I've got it in my head. That's a sign of a good chorus. Then we've got the third verse. Whatever happened to all this season's losers of the year? Every time I got to thinking where they'd disappear. Then I woke up, Mum and Dad are rolling on the couch, rolling numbers, rock and rolling. Got my Kiss records out.
69 in?
1978. Thank you very much. So it sounds like they've got his records out, and the whole sort of song seems to be him trying to work out that his parents were cool or are cool, but they're still being
Well, it's that thing when they're
showing him how to be parents.
They try and not show too much.
Yeah, they're trying to be good role models, but he's kind of thinking, actually, my parents were quite cool, but I can see what they're doing. They're trying to look out for my best interest, but my parents were actually quite cool. It's quite a cool sentiment for the song, isn't it, really? Then we've got the chorus again, and then the outro is kind of like a call and respond, isn't it? You've got the backing vocals singing back the chorus at him, and slightly delayed interviews, like a call and response. Really good song structure as well. I really enjoyed that one. Probably I would, if I was going out on a limb, I'd say that's probably the favourite song of all the ones that we've done on Lyrical.
Okay.
And the episodes up to here. So yeah, Cheap Trick. I might check them out, get their greatest hits or something. But I was really impressed with them. I thought it'd be cheesy, like kind of 80s nonsense, as it was out sort of late
in the 70s.
70s, as it was late 70s.
80s
but
nonsense in the 70s.
But I know they were kind of around in the 80s, but this was obviously one of their earlier songs. But yeah, it was really good tones and good musicianship. Mm-hmm. Good band, Cheap Trick. I'm going to go out on a limb, and so I'm really impressed with my first introduction to Cheap Trick. Now, if you'd like to fire up those fingers, Albeen, we will get down to our second track of the week.
Did you not want to talk any more about what it is actually about? Or
we have, I think, a lot, haven't we? I think it's about.
We covered it?
I think it's about him saying props to mum and dad. He knows what they're doing. They're just looking out for his best interest and giving him some guidance on what not to do, but also at the same time trying to give him the freedom, to spread his own wings and go and make himself in the world. But him saying, my parents are quite cool, actually, even though they're trying to be parents rather than, maybe they're like new age parents or something. But to have a musician's son, I guess you would have to be quite liberal and open-minded, wouldn't you? So, what did you think? What did you think it's about, Paz?
Well, no, I'd just say same as you. Just about parents and stuff, and it doesn't touch too much into like. I know he goes at the beginning about staying away from girls and stuff like that, but kind of tickles what it's about.
Suggests, that they're giving him little warnings about look after yourself, boy, but also go out and be free. Mm-hmm. Not liberal with his knickers, but, free as in don't hold yourself back as you pursue your dreams. Space in the world. Yeah.
All
okay.
Right.
Yeah, happy with that?
Get me fingers ready.
Mandy, you happy with that?
She said yes.
She said yes. Okay, so fire out those fingers, Albeen. Let's have a...
She's texted me somehow. I don't know how.
A new tap.
This is not live.
Is this going to be one of your Richard Head jokes?
No. I'm joking. Anyway, here we go. Ready?
Yeah. And the random song generator has given us this week...
It's Morchiba.
Okay.
World Looking In.
Okay, I've heard of Morchiba. Are they from Bristol, Paz?
They might well be, yeah.
I'll look out into that.
You're the man with the facts. I'm just telling you what it is.
I've just realised that we didn't actually look up what the Cheap Trick song was about from their point of view.
Yeah, that's what I was on about earlier.
Ah, right.
And then you said
enough.
We've covered it,
Yeah,
so I was like, all right, let's leave it.
Fair enough, mate. There is a brief summary of it. It says the song was about a kid who catches his parents making out and getting stoned to his Kiss records.
There you go. That's what I said. Go. They were 69 on his Kiss.
Then in a seamless link to Morchiba or Morchiba? Morchiba.
I don't know. I'd say Morchiba.
Okay. We're just going to... So as ever, the song will be in the playlist for episode 10. So track 2 is Morchiba.
Yeah.
With the song...
World Looking In.
World Looking In. So we'll speak to you after we've listened to that song. Hopefully you've joined us by listening to it too.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Morchiba.
I would say Morchiba.
And it was from 2000. I've done a bit of background research. They were... Whoops.
Oi. Can't have that on there.
That was an advert playing in the background.
John looking up his adult rated.
Guess that advert. It looks like it's an advert for... I'm not going to say it because
we don't advertise.
It was a coffee manufacturer.
So if advertisers would like to get involved.
Yes, that was a coffee manufacturer. And we're open to offers from coffee manufacturers if you'd like to buy us, our souls.
If you buy John Soul,
Yeah.
it's very cheap.
It's very cheap, yeah. It's very cheap. Anyway, I digress. Morcheeba were actually based in Kent, Paz, and the two guys that started it were based in Kent, and the singer herself was based in London. And that song was out in 2000, would you believe?
22 years ago.
It was, and it was on their album. Let me bear with me, caller. It was on the album, Phil. Fragments of Freedom.
Fragments of Freedom, I think you're trying to find.
Yeah, it was on the album Fragments of Freedom. Nice chilled out vibes, loops and samples, one of the early forerunners for that, I'm sure. Says the genre, trip hop, electronic, alternative rock,
trip hop,
R&B and down tempo as well.
Massive Attack and stuff like that.
Yeah. The singer's called Sky Edwards, and the members were Paul Godfrey, Paul and Ross Godfrey brothers.
Okay.
There we go. They've actually released 10 albums. They're still going strong, I believe. Yep, still going to the present day. 1995 they started. That was off their third album. If you'd like to look at the lyrics of this one then, Paz.
Okay, let's do that. So we're starting with Angels, smiling on my happiness. Happiness, not happiness.
Happiness.
Happiness, with a H.
Mm-hmm.
Danger, because the scene is still a mess. We can all be blessed.
Don't stop just yet. We've got the world looking in our window. That's the chorus, isn't it?
Yep,
Don't stop just yet. We've got the world looking in our window. Don't stop just yet. We've got the world looking in. Yeah, it's good. It's a nice melody. I did enjoy it. It's nice chilled out vibes, wasn't it?
That's more my style.
Yeah, chilled out vibes. Second verse, we've got spacecraft spinning slowly out of sight. Peace man, keep on chasing the wrong guy. We'll see eye to eye. And then the chorus again. Lots of choruses.
Yeah, that's all it is after. It's just, that's what it is. It's just very simple. Very simply put together.
It retains your interest, doesn't it? Because they keep changing the samples and then bringing in different bits and beats and snares and hi-hats opening and stuff like that. So I guess that's where the trip hop.
She's got a nice singing voice.
She has very
vocals,
a honey vocal, isn't it? It's like a very smooth, honeyed vocal. Beautiful song. It is nice and chilled out. You can imagine chilling out, listening to that on a nice summer's day. Yes, a nice summer's day. Have you ever seen them live?
No, I haven't. Are you offering?
Are
they still going?
Yeah, they are still going. Yeah, they're still going.
We could go and watch them sometime, innit?
They've just released. Well, they released their 9th album. Well, they must have had their 10th one out because it said 10 albums earlier on, didn't it? But they released the album Blaze Away and Blackest Blue in June 2018. Okay. Obviously, the world has been on a bit of a lockdown since then, so maybe that's why they haven't toured that album. But I imagine they've been working on new music during the lockdown. Mm-hmm. Do you know where the origins of the band name Morcheeba come from?
Don't know. Something they ate?
I'm about to tell you. So, in the musical industry, if something is boring, they call it M.O.R, don't they? Middle of the road.
Oh, right, okay.
So on a lot of rock stations, it was called middle of the road. So they got the M.O.R from middle of the road. Yep. And Chiba is a slang term for cannabis. Yeah. So Morcheeba. It's actually Morcheeba. That's where they got it from. So middle of the road and Chiba, they were sort of trying to be ironic.
That's why it's chilled. Trip hop.
It is, yes. Absolutely. So, they have got, here we go. Here, their newest album, Paz, is called Blackest Blue, and it was released in May 2021.
Okay.
So they are still going.
That's good.
And they are still, they released 4 singles off that album as well. So Blackest Blue did not enter the UK official chart, but peaked at number 14 on the official album download charts. I don't know what the difference is these days. I guess there's a combination, isn't it, of downloads and purchases.
It's really weird. They do all streaming stuff and like that, so the companies now just get other people to stream for them, so they can get their things to number 1.
Yeah, but it got to number 14 on the downloads chart. So props to them, still going strong, still getting up to number 14 there. What did you think the song was about, Paz?
I think it's just basically getting on with your life, but everyone's looking in at you, if that makes sense. Just keep going, or as from a singer point of view, everyone's looking at her type thing. Does that make sense? What I'm
maybe
saying?
Don't take to heart what people say about you and just carry on doing your thing and unabashed like a proper artist should be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe that's that. Looking at the lyrics on the page here, I guess that is what it's about. Just to stay true to yourself and carry on doing what you're doing, despite other people looking in and criticising, and because they don't have any direct influence over you, as long as you're happy with yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because I think I had to just make sure, but I think their most well-known hit is called "The Sea," isn't it? So. If you've heard of that.
I have, yeah, that's when I sung to you. I thought this one might have been it. Cool.
Cool. Next.
Is there anything else you want to add on this song before we move on?
No.
Okay. Fire up those fingers then, Pasmondo. Right, next up we have got the Beatles. First time they've appeared. I'm sure they're all over this top 500. With the effect they've had on modern music, and a song that was my dad's favourite Beatles song, in fact, Rain. And he always said to me that you can see a direct link from the Beatles' Rain to what Oasis did, and Oasis themselves have said that is kind of their blueprint for how their band was when they listened to Rain. It's a bit of a heavier, jangly, kind of you'll see in a minute when we listen to it. Stuff. Yeah, so so it's like the Beatles. A kind of a more up-tempo sort of rocking kind of number, which kind of led Oasis's blueprint for what they did.
Yeah.
So this is called The Beatles. This is called The Beatles. This is called The Rain. It's not even called The Rain. I'm getting in a right muddle here. This is called Rain by The Beatles, and it was released in June 1966.
Rain as in R-A-I-N.
Rain as in what happens, the precipice from the air, whatever. It's the B-side of Paperback Writer.
Okay.
And I'm not going to tell you what it was about because there's some blurb about what.
I have a song called Rain if anyone's interested.
Did you rip it off of this one by any chance?
I didn't actually. Yeah. I did. It was. Well, I might as well say it now. I've said it. It's. I thought I'd do a track where it's me and a guitar in the rain.
I didn't know you could play the guitar.
I can't.
All right.
If you hear it,
sounds inspirational, mate. I can't wait to check that one out.
You can check it out. I can play it. I can play it by ear. I don't know what I'm doing.
What's the Bandcamp address?
BandCamp.com.
Basilic, aka Dark Sphere or Dark Soul. Yeah, Dark Sphere. There we go.
I will be the sphere in your life.
And this is it's not The Rain. It's Rain. It's The Beatles with the song Rain.
Were they called The Beatles?
They were called The Beatles, and this is the song. This is the song. This is the song called Rain. Okay.
Let's go.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Rain by the Beatles from 1966, Paz. Thoughts on that, first of all, as an overall piece?
Well, I liked it better than the first track.
Okay. It was I don't know if I said it, was a B-side to Paperback Writer. Both songs were recorded during the sessions for Revolver, although neither actually appear on the album.
Okay.
Rain was written by John Lennon but credited to the Lennon-McCartney writing partnership. He described the song's meaning as, do we want to spoiler here? It's not spoiling anything.
Well, it's the rain comes.
It's his response about people complaining about the weather all the time. The song's recording contains a slowed down rhythm track, a droning bass line and backwards vocals. And here, Pop Pickers and Paz Pickers is your stat of the day. Its release marked the first time that a reversed sound had ever appeared in a pop song. There you go. Although the Beatles did use the same technique on the Revolver track Tomorrow Never Knows. Obviously the album was out later in the year. Rain was out before that. So it was the first ever song which was released which featured they'd reversed the tape player and
I was going to say, that's all they've probably done is they go turn it back a bit, and they went blah, 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 and they went, oh yeah, I like the sound of that. Also, a bonus stat for you here: Ringo Starr often cites Rain as his best ever recorded drum performance. Okay. There's lots of tom fills and on there, isn't there? And then shine.
Beatles also made 3 promotional films to mark the release of the song, which was considered among one of the early precursors for the music video. So quite an inspirational song for using backwards guitars, music videos, and obviously, as I suggested, Oasis were heavily influenced by that song when they were putting together their own sort of sound and style. Did you pick that up from the song at all?
Yeah, so just like what I was just saying now, where they go, shine,
Shine, yeah,
the way they
shine,
say it is like the way the Gallaghers, shall we say, say it.
Spoiler,
sing.
John Lennon says shine in the song, doesn't he? So let's look through the lyrics. So the first verse, if the rain comes, they run and hide their heads. They might as well be dead. If the rain comes, when the sun shines, they slip into the shade. When the sun shines down and sip their lemonade. When the sun shines down, when the sun shines. So I guess it's about negative people, isn't it? People that moan no matter
about everything.
So if it's wet, they're complaining. If it's sunny, they're complaining.
As people say about us.
Probably.
Hint, hint.
Mandy, thank you. Verse 3, I can show you that when it starts to rain, everything is the same. I can show you. I guess John Lennon's saying that it doesn't matter what the weather's like, you just got to get on with your day and embrace it.
Get out there, enjoy nature.
Yep. And then, can you hear me when it rains and shines?
Shines?
When it rains and shines, it's just a state of mind. Can you hear me? I guess it's saying step outside the box and ignore the weather. And get on with...
Come outside.
Yeah, come outside and don't let the rain stop you from going outside. Commenting on rain, John Lennon said it addresses people moaning because they don't like the weather. Another interpretation is that the songs Rain and Sun are phenomenon experienced during a benign LSD trip. Lennon had sung of the importance of mind over matter, which is what we just touched on, in the Beatles' 1963 song, There's a Place. With Rain, he further... built on this idea through the influence of hallucinogenic drugs. Author Nicholas Schaffner recognised it as the Beatles' song to portray the material world as an illusion, a theme Lennon and George Harrison explored at great length during the band's psychedelic period. In the early 1970s article on the Lennon-McCartney songwriting partnership, Rain was one of the songs Lennon said he wrote alone. According to Paul McCartney's recollection in his 1997 authorised biography, many years from now, the pair did collaborate on it, but the song's authorship was, in Paul's own words, about 70-30 to John. In what Beatles biographer Steve Turner deems an oversimplification that ignores the philosophical aspect, McCartney recalled, songs have traditionally treated rain as a bad thing, and what we wanted to get out in the song was that it wasn't a bad thing. There's no greater feeling than the rain dripping down your back. There you go.
Not when it's cold.
No, not when it's cold. Definitely not. And when it's cold and wet, ugh, not the one. Yeah, I liked it. It's a nice. The song is in G major, which is the same. It reminded me of the Oasis song Who Feels Love, which has got the same, which is in G as well. The similar jangly guitar and bass line. So
you said you can't say jingle jang.
We're not allowed to say jingly jangly apparently because of
Jimmy
Savile's impact on the horizons of Paz's immediate Stoke Mandeville life.
All he's been going on about this show is Elton John and 14-year-old boys. So I don't know what.
Well, I've been inspired by your Jimmy Savile t-shirt that you got on.
My Jimmy Savile shirt.
Jimmy Savile t-shirt.
Yeah, the blue one.
Yeah, the plain blue one. Okay, yes, good song, and it employed some early techniques, studio techniques, of the mucking around with the tape machine and stuff with the backwards vocals. Paz, you said you've done some backwards guitar in your own stuff.
It sounds silly saying before I knew about the Beatles one, because I never really listened to Beatles when I was younger. I know that's like one of the first things I tried doing to experiment with music is rewinding stuff, vocals, instruments, and all that stuff.
Another funny, I don't know if it's funny or interesting fact about this one is one of the first times that Paul McCartney mic'd up his amplifier rather than went direct into the soundboard. So they were mucking around with different recording techniques, and because usually you DI a bass, and they actually amped up the loudspeaker of his amplifier to try and get a more deeper resonant bass sound, which worked. You've got that nice bass line in the background there. There we go. The increased volume of the bass guitar contravened EMI regulations, which were born out of concern that powerful sounds would cause a record by a stylus, their vinyl, to jump up off the floor. The paper off the needle anyway. The paperback writer Rain single was therefore the first release to use a device invented by the maintenance department of EMI called the Automatic Transient Overload Control, ATOC for short. The new device allowed the record to be cut at a louder volume than any other single had ever been at that time. So it's quite a landmark single, isn't it, for technology and different techniques and everything, to be fair. The background vocals at the end is just the chorus sung backwards and put through the tape machine. There you go. And, look at this. Lennon's vocal track in the backwards part of the end consisted of him singing the word sunshine, which was drawn out, which, like you touched on, the way Oasis used to string out the word sunshine, and they were stringing out the words to
making it sound a bit funny.
Both Lennon and producer George Martin claimed credit for this idea. Lennon said in 1966, after we'd done the session on that particular song, it ended up at about 4 or 5 in the morning. I went home with the tape to see what else I could do with it, and it was sort of very stoned and tired, and I was very stoned and tired, not knowing what I was doing. I just happened to put on my own tape recorder the wrong way around, and it came out backwards, and I liked it better, so that's just how that happened. There you go.
That's what I said.
Mistakes. A lot of the best ideas come out of mistakes.
I say like when I tried it when I was younger, it was just all sorts of things. I still do it now. I like experimenting with music and ways of getting different sounds out. So that's how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, they recorded lots of different versions of background, but they stuck with the first one that they recorded, which is what Lennon heard in his head. Do you like that one?
Yeah, I would say it's my second favourite.
Your favourite ever Beatles song?
Today.
Today. Okay, so that brings us to the period of time where we play our last song of the week, track 4. So if you'd like to fire up the finger mouse, we have got, so the random song generator has given us
Aesop Rock, No Regrets.
Ace of Spades.
Ace
of Spades! The who?
Aesop Rock.
Aesop's Fables. I don't know this
John's
one.
deaf today. He's
I don't know what you're on about, man.
No Regrets.
No Regrets by Aesop
Rock.
Is this any relation to Bads?
It's not related to me, no.
No? Okay.
But if he does want to send money my way.
Track 4 in the playlist accompanying us on YouTube is this one, which Paz will remind you is called
No Regrets
by
Aesop Rock.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was No Regrets by the artist called Aesop Rock. It was released in 2001 on his third album, called Labour Days. That was the 5th track on his third album, Labour Days. What did you make of that one then, Paz?
I do like it a lot. It's, as well as the obviously rhyming and the rhyme schemes and all that stuff. I think the message is a good message and positive message that people should be looking into as well. What
was the overall message that you took before we look into it?
It's obviously, as you said, I can't remember if it was off air or on air. Doesn't start very good when you've got Lucy was 7, but it's not. It's more about Lucy and her life from a kid.
In the Sky with Diamonds.
And in the Sky with Diamonds, if you want. But it was basically about Lucy's life from young kid to when she dies in the deathbed in hospital, and she starts by using chalk on the street, just starts drawing things, whatever she's seeing, skies, things like that. And then, obviously, kids will be saying to her, oh, come play this, come play that, come do that. She said, no, it's all right, I'm just doing this. She keeps doing it. And then over a year goes past. She's covered everywhere, all the pavement, everywhere. And then she stops. And then they're like, why are you stopping? And she was like, I finished. That's why. I've just finished. So it's showing that something you do doesn't have to be done on the day. It can take time, take over a year, etc. then, as I say, it gets into further into her life, and people keep asking her, "Do you want to come out for lunch? Do you want to come do this? Come do that?" No, I'm doing my drawings. I'm doing that, and that's it. And then when it comes to, she meets someone who's also into art. Then when she gets older, he's died, but she's in hospital and she's got all her pictures and stuff all around her. And then it's the main bit in the song, which I think people in general should take a good message from, is when where is it?
Lucy was 87.
So she pulled the nurse aside and she says, "Look, I've never had a dream in my life, because a dream is what you want to do but still haven't pursued. I knew what I wanted and did it till it was done. So I've been the dream that I wanted since day one." And I think that's the message. I think that proper brings the whole track together.
Well, you say that, but the verse before that is probably leading up to that. It says when she hit 87, she got arthritis and she couldn't draw anymore. Yeah. So she put all her pictures up on the wall and relived all of the pictures that she'd drawn.
Exactly.
And didn't put her telly on. She just sat and smiled and looked at each picture over and over just to laugh at it all. Now, Rico had passed 5 years ago. That's her husband. Yeah. She got married along the way, didn't she?
So, yeah, and that's what I'm trying to say, is that where everyone's always like, what's your dream, what do you want to do, what you want to do, blah blah blah, just do what you want to do and live it. And as I say, it's the same for me, and I think for yourself when you do your music and stuff. That is, I mean, obviously you'd love to get paid for it, and that's what you do, but I
don't attribute monetary value to art.
No, but this is what I'm trying to say, is obviously that people from outside go, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? You would say, oh, if I could get paid for doing my music, I'll get paid for doing my music. That's what I'd love to do. But you don't have to get paid to live your dream. That's the point.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's why I thought it was quite a good song for people to take a nice message and to end with as well.
And you can hear that on our playlist on our YouTube channel. Yeah. Is that how Basilisk, aka Dark Sphere, lives his life?
Well, I do my music. That's what makes me happiest. That's my happiest point in my life. Obviously, barring daughter and family and stuff like that. But that's where I'm happiest, when I'm creating music. So,
it's your raison d'etre. Is it your mission statement in life? Yeah, just
do it. If someone comes around one day and says, "Do you know what? You can write some songs for me. I'll give you a couple of mil," I'll do it.
More likely they'll be knocking on your door saying, "Can you give me a couple of mil for stealing that sample from that song which you used?" So this song actually had a sample in it. It was like a dun dun bang 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 bang. Did you recognise where it had been sampled from?
I can't think right now. Go on.
No, I didn't recognise. I just wondered if you could think of anywhere you might have heard it previously. Maybe he sampled it from his own guitar playing or something. He's an artist from New York, didn't we see? He's like a rapper.
New York?
A rapper from New York. Yeah, born in New York. A place called Syosset in New York. Syosset is a hamlet and census-designated place in the town of Oyster Bay in Nassau County on the north shore of Long Island. There you go.
I know Long Island.
Long Island.
I've been Long Island.
He's a hip-hop artist, rapper, songwriting and a record producer. Still active. Mm-hmm. Still going. I don't know whether he's going strong or whether he's going weak, but he's still going. Maybe, hopefully, he lives to the message in that song.
But that's it. I mean, I know you're not really much of a fan of the hip-hop style, but I mean, do you...
Well, I like that one because it told a story. Yeah. It wasn't just trying to show off about how hard they were and trying to be clever with words. It was actually told a story. Yeah. So, props. Is that what you say in the rap world? Props to that guy. Props to Aesop Rock. Spells Aesop as in Aesop's Fables. Aesop. The artist Aesop Rock. The track No Regrets. Not to be confused with the Robbie Williams song of the same name, which is absolutely shite. Sorry, Mandy. That track is absolutely shite. Robbie Williams. No regrets, they don't work. Okay, that is a wrap for another week. Episode 10 is in the can. Well, it is when I press save, but it's not in the can yet. And when I say in the can, I mean in the digital music can and not the toilet can or the Coke can. Other cans are available.
The shovel.
The shovel can.
Have the shovel. You're digging yourself deeper and deeper, mate.
Deeper into the can hole. So nobody goes into room 103 this week. I thought Aesop might have been in there with his talk of Lucy being 7 at the beginning there, but it was just a biographical story. So
there you go.
There we go. We'll be back same time, same place next week. And you can get the 4 tracks that we listened to today on the playlist on our YouTube channel. So we will return next week. And as ever, how do we sign off?
We say...
Paz, it's been 9 weeks. You'd think you'd have got it by now.
I've got a bad brain.
Cue and credits.
There we go. I'm not allowed to say it, really. That's why
yes, it's my catchphrase.
He whips me
it's my catchphrase, isn't it? It's
Help!
my catchphrase.
Help!
It's the way you say them. It's my catchphrase. Cue end credits. There we go. So good. I said it twice this week.
Lyrical. What you hear